Welcome to the SquadCast, everybody. We are pumped to be here. Hockey Eve. It is the eve of the NHL season. We are on the brink, as our good friend Adam Schultz says, of we're 24 hours away from 116 straight days of NHL hockey, Max. You're in the mood. You got the Preds jersey on. You're covering it up with your laptop.
That's fine.
Now, just before we went to air, I wasn't sure if I was going to tell this or not. But
no, you had to. I was here. This is really cool.
My phone starts ringing, and I don't typically get phone calls. It's 2021. But people who are much older than me still use phone calls as a very popular mode of communication. So hello to Chad. Hello to John. Hello to everybody who's tuning in tonight. I saw some other. Adam, as I mentioned, was tuned in. Who else we got here? Ronald Steven from our down south neighbor. North Dakota. Katie Fleury was the first one in, of course. But here's the story. So I get a phone call, and it's a blocked ID. I don't know who it is. Who calls me with blocked IDs? Our salesman, Chad Stallard, our good buddy Chad Stallard. He calls me. He often has a blocked number. Just that's how his phone works. So I'm thinking it's Chad, right? Chad, who was on the show last week. For those of you who watched last week, Chad was here. Hi, Ricky. Hello to Darren. We're looking forward to tonight. So I answer the phone. I say, hello, thinking it's Chad. And he says, hey, Clark. I'm like, hi, how's it going? Hey, this is Don Cherry here. And I was like, oh. I literally looked at Max and I was like, oh, this is
fell out of your seat.
This is 5 minutes ago, guys. So we're a little shaken up.
Yeah.
I had reached out to his son, Tim, about coming on the Rod Peterson show, which, of course, is our father's show here. And we freaked out a little bit. So anyways, if we see him a little shaken, that's why.
That was pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. I didn't have
Max,
a phone in
Max
hand.
crushed it. He got a video of it. We're good. We're good to go. So anyways, we are the SquadCast. You are the squad. You are the fanalists. So that's why we are called the SquadCast. Thanks for checking in. We see a great number of viewers here tonight.
Fantastic number of viewers.
Super pumped.
Love it.
It is this eve of hockey season. And before that we get to all that great talk, we have to thank our good friends at Rockstar Supply Chains Solutions. Roxanne and Darnell are over there doing a great job. If you need to figure out what you need for your business, how to get it, and to help with everything else with your business, making it a smooth operation, they can handle that for you. Check them out at Rockstar Supply Chains. I think they have a what is it, rockstar.ca?
Website,
it's on
Facebook,
the commercial that I voiced.
Twitter.
I can't seem to remember it.
They're all over the place.
Yeah, thanks. Here come all the comments. John Ohm, Don Cherry? Brett Ellick, amazing. Yeah. I'd crap my pants too. Yeah, you don't want to see what's going on right now.
Pretty incredible.
John Ohm, Katie Fleury, Skylar has a black eye and a scar coming. Did you punch your child for hearing that story? I hope not.
Oh, boy.
As always, ask us anything throughout the night. Guys, if you could throw up the Hulk Hogan image for us.
I can't do
Send
the
in
hand
your
thing
comments.
That you do. Whatever that thing
I don't know why you can't. It's not that hard.
Because I'm left-handed and everything's messed up.
Send in your comments. Send in your questions. We got a ton to talk about, guys. It's going to be tough to fit it all into an hour and a half, but we're going to try because Kayla's in the back room with Director Jordan, and I'm sure they have a bet. Kayla's daughter's here, too, and I'm sure she's probably going to join in on the betting action. So we'll see.
School's back, too, so let's be mindful of that.
Let's be mindful. Right? It's a school night, guys. So... Max, give us the breakdown, what's going on the show while I finish sharing everything.
Fantastic, Clark. So it's hockey season eve, as you alluded to earlier, and we're gearing up for a jam-packed episode. With a 56-game sprint upon us, we cannot wait to begin to see how this season's story unfolds. Nick Kypreos joins us for an in-depth season preview. We talk his book, career, and what else he's got in the queue. Super Wildcard Weekend was a sight like no other. How about that first quarter between the Steelers and Browns, eh? All Big Ben could do was shake his head and say, oh, brother. Thanks for tuning in. We're incredibly excited to get this show underway. Let's get this thing going, eh, Clark? What do you say?
Sure, let's do it.
Right.
We got a ton to talk about, but of course, we can't bury the lead with what happened this past weekend in the NFL. We will, trust me, we have a ton of hockey talk coming up.
Yes.
So stay with us. But we have to talk about the NFL. Now, what happened this past weekend is, of course, the Super Wildcard Weekend, which is the first time they've ever done it this way. They added a wildcard
Great job
team.
By the NFL's marketing team.
Yeah.
Really going above and beyond for the name. I love it.
They definitely went all out for it. And, they added a wildcard team on each conference, so it gave the Green Bay Packers and Kansas City Chiefs a bye week coming into this week, which should lead to some interesting conversations about the old rest versus rust debate, which happens every year. There's a bye week. But So yeah, we had a couple winners, couple losers, couple surprises, a couple picks that you made in the squad select that didn't work out for you. So let's break it down. Who do we want to start with? We're going to get into this more as well later in the show, guys.
Yeah.
So if we seem like we skip over some of it, stay tuned. We got to do our squad select later in the show for this week's playoff matchups, but so we'll talk about it a little bit more. But what was the game that surprised you the most, Max?
You know what surprised me the most? I honestly, I got to go with my Rams, and I don't mean to be that biasly and I guess only talk about my true beloved team here. But the fact of the matter is, we were going in not knowing who our starting quarterback was going to be. John Wolford, who it ended up being, got hurt early in the game from a questionable hit from Jamal Adams, we'll call it. And then Jared Goff had to come in 12 days removed from thumb surgery, broke his thumb, and against those same Seattle Seahawks in Week 16. And hey, you know what? It wasn't the most pretty game, but our defense showed why statistically they're the best in the NFL. And we're moving on to see Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams and company in Lambeau on Saturday. So I don't know. I was pretty impressed and surprised with the Rams pulling out the 30-20 upset. I guess it was an upset, really. It was a 6 seed versus a 3 seed. So I was pretty pumped to see my Rams make it on through to the other side and get into the divisional round. But what about you, Clark? What did you have your eye on?
The one that worked for me in my favor in squad select, that was surprising to me, was the Ravens over the Titans. Yep. That game, it seemed like it was pretty close all the way, and then the Ravens must have figured something out, and they took that one over the Titans. A lot of people didn't think that would happen that way. Not that I don't think a lot of people wrote the Ravens off necessarily, but the Titans were just looking good. They had kind of had a little bit of everything, and of course Derrick Henry, but they found a way to shut him down, and then Lamar Jackson did his thing.
40 yards. Tractor Cito was just not, I guess, in his winning ways, so to speak. I mean, that's the thing. He had a 2,000-yard season, which was incredible, but at the end of the day, you got to get it done in the playoffs. And I know Darren DuPont behind us right now is a little upset with that result. But with that being said, as we mentioned, I guess we texted back and forth a little bit back on it, is there's always next season.
Always next season.
Right? That's what Falcons fans say?
We got some comments coming in. We got John Ohm. Go Green Bay Packers. I mean, again, I know you just talked about it against the Rams. They showed some heart, Ricky Kazama said. And we do some pictures for these NFL talks, guys, if you want to throw them up. I think we had one or two. But yeah, the Packers get the Rams now. The Rams are hurting. They got some things going on in their locker room. The Packers, they seem like they got everything going for them right now. Home field game against an LA team, which isn't used to the weather necessarily, in that pretty little field of theirs up over in LA, right?
Yeah.
So you have to think the Packers would be heavily favored in that game, no?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. They're the number one seed in the conference, right? At the end of the day, it's going to be a fun game on Saturday. I think there's some really good headline talent on both sides of the ball. Aaron Donald got a little banged up, tore some rib cartilage, but he's going to play on Saturday instead of Sean McVay, so he'll be all right. And I guess the matchup, and we'll talk about it obviously a little bit later when we get into kind of the squad select for this coming weekend. But Devontae Adams and Jalen Ramsey, that's going to be, I think, the highlight of the weekend in terms of just watching arguably the best shutdown corner in the league against probably one of the top 3 receivers in the league. So at the end of the day, I definitely, it's the Lloyd Christmas meme for me. It's the, so you're saying there's a chance.
Hey, there's always a chance.
I think it's going to happen. But as me and Ricky were kind of going back and forth on Instagram this weekend, I'm just glad to have hockey back and watch my Rams play this weekend. It's going to be a fun little week.
Speaking of hockey, who's ready? We are literally, as of right now, 24 hours away from puck drop tomorrow night. For, again, Adam Schultz said, at 116 straight days of NHL hockey. We're all super pumped. There it is, that logo in the ice. Now, I just put up a poll. I want everybody to make sure they vote on it who's watching on Facebook. We are live on Twitter and YouTube tonight as well. So just a little note.
Our long-awaited debut.
If you can't watch on Facebook long-term, or maybe YouTube's your preferred platform, maybe Twitter's your preferred platform, we're on YouTube at the Rod Peterson Show page, and we're on Twitter at the Team RP Show account. So you can go there as well and tune in throughout the night. But I put up a poll. Who's your Stanley Cup favorite? The Avalanche came out with the odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup this year. Now that doesn't pan out very often, is what I was trying to say. Yeah. But I also put up the Golden Knights, the Lightning, and other. Those are the 3 teams that are kind of hovering. And then, of course, other. I wanted to put the Leafs on there. Now, here's the thing.
Why would you want to do that?
Here's the thing that we keep talking about. And, with these new divisions, the one thing that did you see my COVID Stars was ranked higher than the Leafs? Is that in the Stanley Cup, Robin? Stanley Cup favorites? The Stars are ranked higher than the Leafs? I don't know about that one. I wouldn't make that bet.
We'll talk with Kipper about that later.
Yeah, we will. We have a question about that for Nick Kypreos coming up in just about 10 minutes' time. But the one thing we got to keep talking about is there. A lot of Canadians seem to have an inferiority complex when it comes to the NHL. Now, we have to remember, guys, that if I say that the Leafs are a favorite to win, there's a guaranteed Canadian team in the semifinals. So it's not like it's a long shot for a Canadian team to have a 25% chance to make it at least or win the Stanley Cup this year. Whereas every other year, it's a crapshoot and you never know.
Exactly.
This year, a Canadian team is guaranteed, the way they have the divisions, to at least be in the semis. So it gives a Canadian team not a better chance, but a better chance. I'll say it.
Yeah, it is. It's statistically there, right?
Yeah.
The numbers work out.
Because typically every year, maybe more Canadian teams will make the playoffs because we're coming off a year where, or we're going into a year where hypothetically 6 Canadian teams were good enough to make the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is going to make that North Division so good.
Yeah.
But
it's unfortunate. It's
and you know what?
Be a one-year thing.
The Senators too. Let's give them a little credit. They could be those pesky Sens of years gone by, where maybe they give people a little bit of a run that they aren't expecting. So we can't give them a pass here.
Yeah.
But I mean, consensus is that there's 6 Canadian teams that have a chance, and. No matter how you break down your power rankings, which we are going to do later in the show, we have an NHL Division Prediction for every single team in the entire league. Me and Max, we put ours together, and we're going to have a big conversation at the end of the show, so make sure you stay tuned. But there is 2 Canadian teams that are very good that are not going to be making the playoffs this year. So no matter how you put your power rankings or your division predictions, 2 teams are going to miss. That are good, that shouldn't otherwise probably miss the playoffs.
And I'd say that's the case league-wide, too. The fact of the matter is, we love to talk about the Canadian division, but in the other markets anyways, the Central, the East, the West, there's some good hockey clubs that are not going to be getting a postseason berth, and that's, I guess, what the most exciting part about a 56-game sprint to the finish is that it's going to be meaningful hockey all the way through.
Yep.
Game 1 to game 56, it's going to be a bloodbath. So I can't wait.
And the one that I'm looking forward to, and I think we talked about it a little bit last week with Julie Robenheimer, is that East Division, and the Boston Bruins stand out to me as a team to watch. Good or bad. I'm very not sure on the Bruins this year. And it's weird because they're coming off such a dominant season. And I don't feel confident that they're at that level even close this year. With injuries up front, their defense feels depleted to me with a bunch of young guys who we haven't seen take a top role yet in that team. Their goalies are a year older. Not that that's a bad thing. Rask and Halak, I think 20 teams in the league would probably take that tandem, maybe 25 teams, honestly, but they are a year older. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like the dominant team that we saw last year in Boston.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it comes down to the strength of their division too, right? They're going to be going up against some powerhouses each and every night. You've got the Flyers, you've got the Capitals, you've got the Penguins. There's just so much talent in that division. If you're the Bruins, like you said, Clark, you're another year older. You don't know what David Pastrnak looks like coming into training camp. I think he skated for the first time in a long time yesterday. It's just going to be really interesting to see. It's Charlie McAvoy's blue line now. Zdeno Chara is no longer there. He's moved over to Washington. It's going to be fun to see him play his old squad 8 to 10 times.
We had a comment from Ricky Kazama that he thinks the Caps are a favorite. So they're not in the poll question. Again, vote right here. Down here, there's a poll. You should see it right now.
Somewhere.
Vote for it. Who you think the Stanley Cup favorite is, or tell us in the comments. But Ricky Kazama says the Capitals since they added Chara. Good timing on the comment, Kayla.
I like it.
Now, I don't know. Zdeno Chara is very interesting to me, and I don't know if we'll probably get into the Capitals a little later on. But I don't know. To me, even if he went back to the Bruins, that defense still wouldn't have quite been what it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you never really replaced Torrey Krug, right?
That too. And Chara, yes, he's a minute eater. He's still a freak of nature.
Yep.
He still has a wingspan of a pterodactyl. But he's 43. Like, it comes to a point where it's going to start breaking down for him, and maybe it's not this year. And hey, I picked the Capitals pretty high in my my division ranking. So here's hoping that he does great for the Caps. But and maybe they'll shelter him a little bit. Who knows? But you know what? Let's get into that a little bit later on tonight. We have to go into our Vigor Fan Vote now, and we're going to keep talking hockey because this one ran away with the vote on Twitter. I'm just going to double check the results really quick here. But we put up 4 options as we do every week on the show here. And Jordan, you let me know if Kipper jumps in, and we'll try to get out of here before too long. But where is the vote? There it is. So we put up Francisco Lindor to the Mets, which honestly I would love to talk about.
I kind of want to talk about that too.
A little plug for what I did on Friday. On Friday at the end of the week last week, I jumped on Facebook Live and I kind of just wanted to vent a little bit, and that was the main topic of discussion. The Francisco Lindor trade to the Mets did not win. If we have time, we might talk about it a little later on.
Yeah.
Evander Kane, with his bankruptcy and legal issues, ran away with the vote. It got 50% of the vote tonight, so we will be talking about that. The Raptors struggling. We're in there as well. They got second place, and then Clark on the Leafs. It only got 9.6% of the vote.
Tough.
So tough week. That's only 4 votes. I think 4? 10% of 52.
Good math.
I don't know.
Yeah.
5 or 6
Close
votes.
enough.
I didn't win. However, Kypreos is on in just a few minutes, so we'll get a little.
So we'll talk
get a little Leafs talk with
We'll
Nick
get a little more
Kypreos.
Leafs going.
But anyways, Evander Kane won, and this is an interesting one. We talked about it before the show. We weren't exactly sure how we were going to approach this necessarily. It's a I don't know, not a sensitive topic, but it's not one you love talking about necessarily. But it is big news. Evander Kane is going through some struggles right now. Let me see if I can pull up the article here. I will give 100% credit to Daniel Kaplan on The Athletic. This is where we're getting kind of our reference from. Again, that's The Athletic, Daniel Kaplan. But Evander Kane recently signed a 7-year, $49 million contract with San Jose, and he just filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in the court of California. And he's also being sued, by a bank for not making loan payments. He has gambling debts. I'm just kind of scrolling through here, but if you really want to read the full article and get the full breakdown, again, head over to The Athletic and read that one there. But it's interesting. He's not the first NHL player. I'm just reading here. And I remember before the show, I said, I think there was a guy in like the 90s, Darren McCarty.
Darren McCarty.
He got messed around with some of his money. Jack Johnson, if you were paying attention recently, Jack Johnson came out and said that his family members screwed him out of some money. And he was I think he's filed for bankruptcy. Brian Trottier says here back in the day also had some issues.
Stanley Cup champion.
A ton of football players this has happened to, some basketball players. So this isn't the first time that this has happened where a high-profile, highly paid athlete is going through these issues. But this one seems a little different to me, I think. And maybe I'm off here, but when we're looking at what it is, there's gambling debt involved. It seems like he was a reckless spender to what I'm reading. Yeah. Adam Schultz says he has 3 $10 million houses. I'm not sure of that, but I'm sure you're not just saying that out of nowhere, Adam. There might be something to that. I heard he was quite the party animal. Obviously, that picture of him holding the money on the Vegas Skyline hotel room doesn't paint a great picture right now.
Life comes at you pretty fast sometimes. Hey, that was a little bit of foreshadowing for, unfortunately, the struggles he's going through now.
Yeah, and so, I mean, this one to me, it's hard to have a ton of sympathy or empathy right now for Evander Kane. It seems like it's kind of self-induced. But I think we're just going to have to wait for more details because there's always 2 sides of the story. And,
sometimes 3.
Sometimes 3. Hopefully for Evander, he can figure his life out and get this sorted, come back stronger. I don't want to wish any more ill will on the guy. But it does seem interesting, like you said, that we talked about it a little bit, but, he was just in the news sort of for calling out Logan Paul for a fight. Wasn't it Logan? And then Logan talked about it on his podcast.
Well, I think the goal was Jake for the bigger belt because Logan's a little tied up with Floyd Mayweather right now. But I
think what happened was he chirped Jake.
Yeah. And then Logan got involved with
Logan got involved, and he challenged Logan to a fight, I'm pretty sure. But
that would make sense.
Either way. Logan, Jake, same idea.
YouTubers versus hockey players. That's the entertainment that we live in today.
Yeah. And, there's a lot of people advocating for that fight. And now we know that I think he was looking for a payday. and he was pushing for it. So I don't know. It's a tough situation, and I think we'll just kind of maybe leave it at that. Jordan, do we have Nick involved? He's involved. I didn't mean involved. Is he logged in? Hey, Nick, we are going to go ahead to a break right now, a couple minutes away. We are going into Ontario to talk to Nick Kypreos, host of the Real Kipper at Noon show, and we'll be right back.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience. Find us at ddgregina.com.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar Buying Group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
He's covering everything that matters to you. It's the Rod Peterson Show. Tune in live Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to noon to catch the show live and be a part of the action. Take control by commenting live and sharing the show with your friends.
Everyday hoop life.
IKS Live. IKS Live. Western Canada's premier production services company. LED sign rentals. Video production. Event management. Look no further than IKS Live. Visit our website. IKS Live. Always the best seat in the house. IKS Live.
Welcome back, and we are heading into our next segment very shortly. But Max, I don't know if you noticed, but we have some beautiful cans here on our desks.
Some incredibly beautiful cans.
I think we should probably crack these open before we start the interview. What do you think?
Crazy.
Now, welcome to the ASMR hour of the SquadCast. I don't know if you. Ooh. Oh, it smells delicious.
It smells fantastic.
I hate to I don't want to blow smoke for Nick, but it smells really good.
Oh my.
So, of course, this is the Little Buddha Cocktail Company's grilled pineapple and rosemary. And we are heading out to talk to a partner with the Little Buddha Company right now. With the hockey world holding its breath, with 24 hours until the hockey season returns, we are very happy to bring on our guest for the show tonight. Welcome to the SquadCast, Stanley Cup champion, host of the Real Kipper at Noon show with line movement, and author of this book right here, Undrafted. Nick, cheers. Welcome to the show.
I can't have you guys drinking alone.
No,
absolutely.
Not.
It's a Tuesday night. Let's get into her.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, good sir.
Now,
that was a nice opening, by the way. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Now, Nick, this is delicious. Let's get into it really quickly. How did you get involved with this, and why is only one flavor available in Saskatchewan right now?
Well, we just recently came out there. That's our first real stretch out west since launching, I guess. We're going back to this last spring. So we came up with a thought and idea probably about 14, 16 months ago. We sat around with family, friends around at a farmhouse. We started drinking these RTDs, ready to drink, cocktails in a can. We started having a wish list, what we liked, what we didn't like, what had too much sugar, what gave us a headache the next day. And we started checking the box off on many things, including organic and gluten-free and no sugar, no preservatives, all of it. And then it almost became a bit of a dare, like, okay, like, can we make one? Well, I don't know. Google it.
It sounds like my kind of research.
Oh, absolutely.
Sounds like my kind of research.
Yeah, it's anybody's research these days.
Yeah, and the ingredients are fantastic. Like our producer Kayla in the back room was just looking at it before. She's like, "This is healthier than some of the waters I drink. Like, this is a healthy drink right here."
And traditionally these type of drinks are anywhere between 5 and 6% alcohol content. We brought it down to 4. So, it is for some people that want to still enjoy a cocktail, but be a little bit more mindful in terms of the ingredients that you're putting in your body. But it just, one thing led to another. And then, really it's, although I've been able to, through my social platform, push the product, and thanks to you guys again tonight for doing that. But the brains of the operation are 2 women, my wife, Anne Marie, and our business friends, now partners, Kim, and they do the day-to-day. And I'll tell you something, they're up against some real tough competitors and, big tough men that have been in this industry. And these guys are like sharks in this type of business. We know it's a multi-billion-dollar industry with the likes of White Claw and Neutral, and they do all a terrific job. But for 2 women to make such great strides in such a short period of time has been incredible. And we were able to sell over 25,000 cases here in the LCBO in Ontario. And we've been recently now branching out west to Alberta and Saskatchewan. And cheers, guys. It's been a lot of fun. And just to go back to your original question, I knew that I was coming up towards the latter part of an 8-year contract with Sportsnet. I always had the thought that I was going to sign it, and there was a possibility of going into my 50s and wanting to change it up or switch it up. And I was in a position to do that. I wanted to start another project, something away from hockey for really for the first time, to show that I can get, involved and create a team and try to have fun in a different way that had nothing to do with a power play or penalty kill or calling a team too soft. So here we are.
We'll get into the Leafs later, Nick. We'll get into the Leafs later.
I wanted to segue, by the way.
There you go. I wanted to give you a little backstory on me because I want to connect a few dots with us, Nick.
Sure.
So my first job out of university was with the Estevan Bruins in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. And I moved out to the small town of Estevan myself. My wife and child came with me. But while I was kind of moving out there, I stayed for 1 month with Mel and Bert Pearson. They've been billeting Bruins players for 35 plus 40 years. And their favorite player of all time, who they're still very good family friends with, is Alan May, who is a good friend of yours, I'm understanding. So when I say the words, when I say Alan May, because I looked at the stats of the first year that you guys played together. He had been in the league already. You were breaking in. He had 339 penalty minutes. You had like 89 or something like that. So what can you tell me about Alan May that he won't tell me otherwise?
Well, my book's called Undrafted, and I told Alan that he's got to write a book because his will be even deeper and more prominent in terms of the little engine that could and refused to hear the words no.
Yeah,
and that's kind of been the theme of my book, but really runs parallel with Alan May's career and where he came from and how he eventually got to Washington when I was there. And, for the first couple of years, it was just me and him battling a lot of big boys and sometimes guys that I had no business fighting. Alan certainly had much more of a gamer reputation by then, but all the respect in the world to him in terms of what he was able to do and what he was able to carve out, just from his earliest memories of loving the Edmonton Oilers to fulfilling his dream of playing for an NHL team and now doing a terrific job broadcasting with the Washington Capitals. I can't say enough about the guy.
Well, let's stick with those Washington Capitals. I'm nailing the segues tonight.
Are you ever?
Let's stick with those
Sure.
Washington Capitals and head over to the East Division, and let's get into that NHL talk because, boy, there is a lot to talk about going into this season. Still a lot of question marks in the air with roster spots. Taxi squads are getting announced here left, right, and center. But the Washington Capitals are in a group of death in the East Division with, I would say, 6 really solid teams out there and a couple of teams that aren't going to go away easy most nights. When you look at the East Division, and for those who might not be on top of it, Flyers, Bruins, Rangers, Islanders, Capitals, Penguins, Sabres, Devils, how do you see that division shaking down, and who's going to survive that division this year?
Well, when you look at the teams that had the most success the last few years, you look at the Philadelphia Flyers and how strong that they were in the back half, and although it was really disappointing in the bubble, you assume that they're going to grow from it and get better. And then there's the Washington Capitals and the Boston Bruins, and the only reason why I bring them up at the same time is for the most obvious reason at all, Zdeno Chara, and that whole effect that this will have in the East. And from a physical point of view, we know the guy's huge, and he can still take up a ton of space on the ice. He can still, I think he left averaging around 21 minutes for the Boston Bruins last year. And now you blink and he's in a Washington Capital uniform, and you're still asking yourself, what the hell just happened here? How did a guy go from playing 21 minutes for the Boston Bruins to being told that he is their 7th defenseman to start the season and then end up in a Washington Capital uniform? So we know he's not a 7th defenseman on any team, but that doesn't mean necessarily he's still a legitimate 21-minute guy. It was just one or the other for the Boston Bruins, which I still don't think, for me personally, that was the right decision that they made. I would have found a way to keep him hell or high water, just in terms of what he's meant to the organization, what he still means to the guys. I think there's a big hole, especially not only from a physical point of view on the ice, but psychologically in that room. And that's not to take away from Patrice Bergeron, who's going to do a terrific job as the next captain. But, man, those are big skates to fill in such a short period of time. And I look at the Washington Capitals now and what they've gained. Forget about still what he can do on the ice, but just from that psyche, they were expecting this bigger-than-life player out of Henrik Lundqvist, right? That aura that he just carry as one of the greatest goalies in modern, time. And then they lost it. It was vanished with his heart surgery. And now, in a blink of an eye and a snap of a finger, you got a bigger than life, guy in Zdeno Chara coming into the room and now working with so many guys. So I think Washington had a big gain on that. And that's not to suggest that he's a top 4 defenseman and that he's going to play 21 minutes every night, but he's just going to add so much to the psyche of the Washington Capitals that it's going to push them a lot further than what the Boston Bruins have to go through.
Yeah, absolutely, Kipper. And you know what? We'll stick on the blue line here, but maybe transition divisions over into the Central. And a headline that's kind of trickled in throughout the day here is the quick decimation of the relationship between Keith Yandle and the Florida Panthers. I'm super curious, as he's one of my favorite defensemen to follow in the league. Do you have any insights as to kind of how that relationship broke down so quickly, or has this been something that's been brewing for a while?
Yeah, I don't think Quenneville's a huge fan, to be quite honest with you. And there's no question that he's a skater. He's a power play guy. But I don't know how much time Joe Quenneville has for him 5-on-5 or playing any significant minutes when a game's on the line. So Yandle will always be that guy that I think if someone is a little short on some offense or the power play runs dry, that they would take a look at a guy like Yandle. But I'm not that surprised to hear of that friction now in Florida.
So we're looking at another team. We're sticking in the Central, I guess, but the Chicago Blackhawks are a team that went from perennial playoff contender at least to might be bottom feeders now very fast. And especially now, we see the Jonathan Taves injury, which is an absolute killer. You see Kirby Doc going down with a Tetris piece for a wrist, and you see Alex Nylander get an injury in training. So that's some big chunks out of their offense. They're already getting older. We've already talked about that. The goaltenders, they're goaltenders. So what do you think? Yeah, exactly. So is this a team, Kipper, that do you think they should be exploring a rebuild, maybe moving Patrick Kane, for example, Duncan Keith, finding a way to get him out? Or should they stay pat and just see what happens?
No, staying pat's a disaster. And a lot of people were surprised to see Stan Bowman actually get a promotion to president off his general manager job, when some thought that he should have lost his job by now. And Stan struggled on a few trades. There's no question about that. Losing Chalmerson hurt that blue line. Murphy comes in, gains a pretty good contract, but a lot of people aren't convinced that he can fill those shoes of a Chalmerson who did everything for them, defensively, while Keith got to do what he did best, and that's create with Taves and Kane. Go back to Panarin, Saad, those decisions. It has not worked out well for the Chicago Blackhawks or Stan Bowman. And now, did the success in the bubble short term, buy Bowman some time? Absolutely. But also look at Crawford and Robin Lehner and ask yourself where that team would have ended up without that goaltending. Their goaltending was spectacular coming down towards the latter part of the bubble and in the bubble and beating Edmonton. And now you're, like you guys mentioned, the goaltending now. Like, if you're Pat Kane, what are you thinking about your team right now? And how long are you willing to kind of hang out? You're still in your prime. He's in his 30s, and he's had an amazing career so far, and he's able to string some Stanley Cups. But you're still in your prime. You're still one of the best players in the league. Maybe he'll see how this season goes and gets a feel for how close that they can retool to get to that place where they're competing again, or he makes a hard decision to say, I've had enough here. It's run its course and time to move on.
Now, he's got 3 years left on his deal. He's 32 years old, $10.5 million. Me and Max were talking about this before the show started, but is there a team out there that could put a package together to make that work? It's not an easy contract, especially in this economy, to fit it in, but you'd have to think there'd be a lineup, no?
Yeah, I think there's no question that there'd be some teams that certainly would be in a position to want him. To get him's a different story, and there's no question that teams would ask for a top young player in return. You want to link him to Buffalo, his hometown. Where do you want to start there? Right? Jack Eichel? Well, the Rangers went through that already.
Right.
The Rangers tried. But, at the end of the day, I don't think Buffalo, it ever came close, with some type of players. But, we'll see. We'll see where it ends up. I think we'll have a better idea towards the trade deadline and how bad Chicago is in terms of looking like a team that can contend. I had Pat Kane on my show about a week ago, and he thinks that they're going to surprise some people. So Kubalik, can he come in and score 30 goals in 56 games? Dylan Strome, do we know what Dylan Strome is? Is he a point-a-game guy? Is he a legitimate second line guy that can come in and provide offense, or are we not sure on him? So a lot of question marks in Chicago.
Yeah, I think they have some young pieces that are intriguing. Alex DeBrinket's another one. They got some defensemen that are curious, but it's looking like a struggle this year with all the injuries and the goaltending and those aging contracts. But Buffalo would be interesting. They got a kid named Jeff Skinner over there who's sitting on a fourth line right now with a $9 million contract. Maybe there's something there that
no one's touching that with a 10-foot pole. That was a disaster.
Maybe if you couple it with a few really good prospects or something, though.
And, you want to talk about guys that paid for their mistakes? Jason Botterill, who ended up in Seattle now as an assistant GM. That Skinner was one of a few decisions that he made that cost him his job.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Kipper, I guess, I don't know, this is a question. I mean, obviously we're on the eve of the season now, but you alluded to it earlier with the trade deadline and evaluation, especially this year being one unlike any other. What do you think we're going to see come the middle of April? Do you think it's going to be unprecedentedly slow because of the restrictions that are going to be put in place from governments? What do you think we're going to see come the middle of April?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be anything like we've seen in the past. And when we're talking about trying to play through a pandemic, guys, like if we get to a trade deadline, it'll be a huge success.
Yeah.
And right now, we saw the NHL again release some latest data on positives, and 17, I think, out of 27. I can't even remember what the stat was. Positive. Who knows who's available by then? Who knows what it looks like by then? And who's coming off a taxi squad? I don't even know for sure if they're going to be able to put a true understanding of what a salary cap could mean if you trade for a guy. Right. I just don't see a lot of bodies moving from here on in. And we know at the end of the day, guys, and it's got to be said, a lot of owners didn't want to play this year.
Yeah.
So I don't see them trading much unless they can offload some contracts. Nobody's buying. Guys still want to get out of bad contracts. I just think it'll be a status quo kind of scenario between now and hopefully what we have is a presentation to a 2021 season of the Stanley Cup.
Absolutely. And you know what, maybe transitioning to a bit of a lighter note, we kind of talked about it earlier, the chemistry between Pat Kane and Jonathan Toews that led to 3 Stanley Cups. Growing up watching you, Kipper, the chemistry between you and Doug McLean, who is a regular on your show now, it was always just a fun, interesting dynamic, and it made for excellent content. Maybe can you just speak about the relationship that you guys have together? Like I said, it was just always so much fun watching you two go at it back and forth growing up watching you.
Oh, he's such an asshole.
That was what I was hoping for. Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, no. He's a lot of fun. There's no question that since we first really met back in Washington with the Alan May days, he was a associate coach with Brian Murray, and I got to know him a lot when I went down for a rehab stint in Baltimore. He had been reassigned there, and there's just something about him that kind of stuck out for me. And I get like a lot of people, you get attracted to people sometimes that have a fun personality, and he was one of them. But he also was a good coach, and you knew when it was time to take him awfully serious, and he found a way to make you better. So when there was an opportunity for him after his days in Columbus, I told Sportsnet, go get this guy and put him on air. He's going to be a lot of fun. And he was for 10 years. And then we found ourselves just hanging out a little bit. And we put together this show, Real Kipper at Noon, which has been fun. It's at our pace. Sometimes I'll call him up and he's like, nope, golfing today. See you later. But in this world of digital, build a studio in the basement. It's been fun and a good tempo off the strenuous corporate big studio stuff that I had at least for 21 years.
Yeah, absolutely. You seem to be in your element, and it's fantastic content. So one quick little follow-up to that. So what's he claiming is his handicap these days, and what do you think he actually shoots?
Well, he claims he's gone from an 18 to a 14 because he got a new driver, and I'm like, that's bullshit. All it means is your ball's going into the woods further. That's all that means.
Love it.
But he's really taken a liking to it a lot more. I don't ever recall him being much of a golfer, but there's always a little bit of that competitiveness that comes out in you. And he's got the bug down in Florida. But you should grab him for a guest one night. You'll have a blast with him.
Would absolutely love to.
He's on the list. Now, we got...
Consider it done.
Yes.
I tell him what to do.
Hey,
Perfect.
absolutely. We have some fan questions here, if you don't mind. I got one for you here from Gregory Lee, and he asks, I'll just put it on the screen here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but Nick, who do you think will be the Rookie of the Year? We got Lafreniere, Zegras, Cousins, Stützle. There's a lot of other ones. Who do you have your eye on right now for incoming rookies?
Well, if we go back to the World Championship, the juniors for a second, Zegras to me, and we've seen some great young players, coming out of the draft year after year, top 3 guys. But what Zegras was able to do, and I should rephrase that, what he was able to say and do in that World Junior Championship, I thought was pretty incredible, because you listen to him prior to that gold medal game, and, you could sit there and easily say, cocky American, right? Easy. He's on TV. He's telling Canada how he's going to beat them. They haven't been tested. Their defense has never been pushed. Their goalie has not been in a real 5-on-5 situation and it's like, holy jeez. I mean, the guy's up there and he's basically telling Canada about their game plan and how they're going to win. And then he goes out and he follows it up and he does exactly what he says. And now if you're Canada, he told you and you still didn't adjust. You still didn't change anything. You didn't do anything except eat the crap sandwich he fed you.
Yep.
And I thought that was ballsy of him, man. And if that's any indication of how he plays moving forward as a pro, I think we're going to have some fun with Trevor Zegras.
Agreed.
But Lafreniere, is he going to be in the mix? Absolutely. Right. I mean, they're great young players. It all depends. Kako, second pick overall, Jack Hughes, nobody expected them to struggle like they did. Nobody saw that coming. And Jack, I'm not saying this is a make or break year for him, but he's got to show why he was the first pick overall a lot more than he did last year for New Jersey. So it's not written in stone for any of them to walk right in and really do what a lot of them have in the past, if you're Connor McDavid or Pat Kane and all these guys that walked in and got their 50, 60 points and then became superstars the following season. But there's no question that these guys have every chance to be superstars, if not future Hall of Famers.
Let's stick with the fan questions. We're going to go to John in Winnipeg. John Ohm, and he has a 2-parter for you. First off, can you get Little Buddha in Manitoba? Part 2 of the question, what are your thoughts on the Jets this year? What do they have to do to make the playoffs?
Manitoba's a little tougher than Alberta or Saskatchewan when it comes to, getting through provincial government. But, you go through the process, and we hope that Manitoba accepts us in a short period of time. So in
Fair
saying
enough.
that, we are pushing forward here for making it available to any Canadian across the country. So be patient.
We have some newfies out east that also want their hands on it as well.
Yeah.
So you know you have a market out there.
Yeah, I think we're told that we should be out east in the next month or two. So we got our fingers crossed on that one as well. And yes, Perfect. There is a second flavor coming. It's a peach. Ooh. And I think it's got a chance to be even tastier than the pineapple, the grilled pineapple.
I'll take it because this is delicious.
This is fantastic.
Thanks, guys. Winnipeg Jets. Some people got them out of the playoffs, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. And the part that everybody thinks that perhaps their blue line still has a big hole because of Byfuglien gone, and I get that, but it's not as bad as people say it is. And I think that between Morrissey and Nhl Pionk, who I think has a chance to be a star and a guy that can quarterback everything, I think they're going to be fine. Hellebuck had his coming out party last year, top goaltender. Blake Wheeler still in his prime. Scheifele. The only thing that really has to be a question mark is, how much pressure is Cheveldayoff have to move Patrick Laine.
Yeah. And
we know that there's some takers out there, but now the question comes where they're going to fit. You're not trading him without an extension and a number that teams are comfortable with. And I think under these circumstances, with the pandemic, it's just too hard to be thinking down that road right now. And if you're Patrick Laine, if a team trades for you, you've got the upper hand on a deal. And I'm not sure teams want that right now because who knows where the market's heading, right? Barzal, $7 million. Mm-hmm. People were talking about 9, 10, 11, and perhaps even an offer sheet. Boys, no offer sheet. They're not out there. Owners wanted nothing to do with offer sheets. And Barzal had to settle for 7 times 3. That was not even close to the number that he thought he would get months ago. So I think Patrick Laine's got a chance to kind of play this thing out. There'll be a ton of talk, I'm sure, at the trade deadline. But Cheveldayoff has to move him because he cannot afford him. Can't afford him going to arbitration, and he can't afford getting a number that would be around $9 million by an arbitrator. You just can't go down that path.
Yeah. You talk about offer sheets, and if the Tampa Bay Lightning aren't going to get offer sheeted, nobody's going to get offer sheeted because they were in some sort of one and they got out of it apparently. So they did some math wizards. They hired some math wizards and got that sorted out.
The old IR, the old best friend, the old GM. Hey, who's the best player on the team? Yeah. IR.
Gotta love Marian Gaborik.
Your MVP this year. IR.
Yeah, Marian Gaborik's our MVP for sitting on that LTIR and getting us under the number.
Oh my God. Where would GMs be today without IR?
Tell me about it. Ask Kyle Dubas. I got 2 more for you here.
Lou Lamoriello.
Well, yeah, exactly. 2 more for you, and then we'll let you go if that's all right, Kipper.
Sure.
Historically, that California road trip, you go down there and you're lucky if you get a point or 2 out of that road trip. In the last couple of years, it hasn't been that way. The teams were on a cycle, obviously, and it was their downtime. And it seems like at least 2 of them are kind of coming back, but San Jose might have a bounce back year. They still have some pretty established stars over there. But are those teams trending in the right direction in your eyes? And do you think they have a playoff berth sooner than later? Any of those 3 teams?
No, I don't. I don't have it sooner than later. And I appreciate Kopitar and Drew Doughty as being superstars, but I worry about that team in the next few years. And Stützle is going to be a star for the Ottawa Senators. And I watched Byfield in the World Junior Championship, and I think he's got a chance to be a very good player, a great player. But I saw nothing to believe that the LA Kings picked the right player. And I know he's a year younger, I believe, and there's still a maturation of another year, getting stronger. But boy, oh boy, I just did not see out of Byfield what I saw out of the other guy. And I wonder how that's going to play out in the next few years. As far as San Jose is concerned, disaster. Even the Carlson resigning and just the lack of chemistry, with Burns and him, and 2 right-handed shots. And, is there enough puck for the both of them on the ice? I have yet to still see that. And I know just prior to coming on, you guys were talking about the Evander Kane situation. Don't think for 1 second, man, that doesn't have a huge effect on San Jose. And I'll make an argument for you that it's been troublesome for years. Okay. The story only came out publicly, but this has been a problem for 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Evander Kane was asking players 2 years ago on his team if he could borrow money. Like, don't tell me that doesn't have an effect on your team and the product on the ice. And like you guys mentioned, it is what it is. And, I hope he can turn his life around. He's got a young family. He's got a kid. I hope he can turn his life around. But playing hockey right now, I would not have it at the top of my priority list.
Yeah, and then, if he's not in the lineup,
it's a big hole.
It's a big hole. It takes a perennial 20-goal scorer, a gritty guy.
When he's
there's
on
not many
his
players
game,
like him.
Oh, when he's on his game, he could do it all, right? Skill, lateral movement, shot, hit, fight.
Yep.
And
just imagine if he didn't have the money problems to think about.
Yeah.
For the last little while, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
now,
I hope he straightens it out, and I hope that weight on the San Jose Sharks is lifted a little bit.
Absolutely. We'll end it here. We got Jamie Anstey, who I believe from the Offside Hockey Podcast. It sounds to me like you joined them not that long ago.
I've made my rounds.
You've made your
my rounds on undrafted, right? So,
yes, we have it here.
So Barry Lefko, big shout out to him.
Yeah, he was tweeting at us earlier. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
shout out
I
to
know.
Barry.
He'll do anything to get his name mentioned.
You got.
So he owes me like $10.
It's 2021. You got to do what you got to do. But Jamie's bugging me about the Leafs, and I'm a Leafs fan as well. So I got to get this in for you, and we'll end on this note. But I get a lot of flack living in Saskatchewan, being a Leafs fan, and
for being a Leaf fan.
Yeah, being a host of this show, a lot of people say, you talk too much Leafs, and I really do make an effort not to. I really do.
That's why you mix in a Preds fan, right?
Yeah. So when I get a chance to ask a question, I want to make sure it's the right one. But people tend to forget that Sheldon Keefe took this team over last year, halfway through the year. He didn't really get a chance to establish his own systems as a head coach. He hasn't really had a real offseason. Let's be real. This was a weird year. So it's coming into a year now where he hasn't really had a real training camp, in terms of traditional training camps. But is this a team with all the additions and the changes that they've made now that Sheldon Keefe's going into his first real year as a head coach? Are we going to see a different team this year, or is it going to be more of the same?
I tend to say more of the same only because we know they're really explosive, and Matthews and Marner will dictate that offense. And as long as they stay healthy, they're going to get a gazillion chances. And if they go on a nice run, they could finish, both of them can finish in the top 3 or top 4 scoring in 56 games. So that will be the same old, same old. The only question mark is how much grittier did they get since they got run over by Columbus in the bubble? And Jim Vasey, Joe Thornton, Wayne Simmons. Now, if you told me Wayne Simmons was part of the mix, but the Wayne Simmons of maybe 3 years ago, I'd be really excited. But what we saw out of Wayne Simmons in the last few years, Nashville, Buffalo, Jersey, we have to see the first 3-5 games to say, okay, are we getting the old Wayne Simmons or the one that wants to just fade into the sunset? So outside of that, you add TJ Brody in the back, and I'm not seeing anybody really run over anybody. And that's the only thing that's concerning, is that they didn't do enough. And Joe Thornton, we just spoke about guys, at the top of the show, about coming into the room and having a bigger than life kind of feel. Joe's got that all day long, but doesn't mean that you got the legs to keep up with Matthews and Marner either. So we got to see how that plays out. They put them with those guys right off the bat, and right off the bat, we're gonna see whether Joe can keep up. So a lot of question marks for Toronto, but it still should be enough to finish first in this division, but not enough to get them as legitimate contenders for a Stanley Cup, in my opinion.
Fair enough. They will get a 1 in 4 chance if they get to that semifinal. That is the beauty of the Canadian division. Nick, we'll let you go, but before we do, who do you like in the NFL? You watching all the games these past weekend, and who you got going forward?
It's kind of been a tradition for my dad and I to watch the Bills. My dad's an underdog kind of guy.
Yeah.
And no bigger underdog than the Buffalo Bills the last 25 years. So we're having a lot of fun watching the likes of a town that no one ever took seriously, in 2 decades, to all of a sudden now being a team that maybe can compete against Kansas City. We'll wait and see and find out. But Allen's been fun to watch, man. It's taken on a life of its own. So go Bills, go.
Are you going to put anybody through a table if they win the Super Bowl?
With a big bucket of chicken wings?
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Watch out, Doug McLean. You're going through a table.
Steer clear of the lighter fluid. Everything's good, though, right?
Yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. And, let's just hope, they've give NFL full credit. They found a way to, and they've had their challenges too. We'll have our challenges in hockey. 50-50 chance that we finish the season. That's what I have it at, guys. I can't give it any more, but I hope we can pick up, the energy of the NFL for 56 games, because I think they've done a terrific job under the circumstances.
And Major League Baseball apparently going all 162. So we'll see about that one.
Let's see how that goes.
Okay. Anyways, Nick, again, I really appreciate you checking in with us tonight, especially on the eve of the NHL season. We got our copy of Undrafted. You guys all go get yours now. Little Buddha, it's available in Saskatchewan now. It's delicious. All over Ontario. Where else? Is it Quebec? Where else are you guys?
No, just Ontario, Saskatchewan, and Alberta.
Well, I'm glad we were top 3.
Working daily.
I'm glad we were top 3 on the list.
Got a customer in me.
Absolutely. So, Nick, thanks again, and stay safe. We'll do this again down the road.
A lot of fun. Thanks again.
Thanks, Nick.
That is Nick Kypreos, of course, brought to you by our good friends at IKS Media. IKS Media is your premier destination for event planning, live broadcasts, and entertainment. And Max, Katie Fleury said it in the comments earlier, but the WHL has some news that they might be getting things rolling.
I saw a tweet from Jeff Merrick a little while ago.
Just want to say, to keep your eye out for IKS around the WHL. There's some stuff brewing. That's all I'm going to say. I might have said too much.
That's fantastic.
Paul Drouin might be in the comments. He might kill me after this.
Did you just cancel us, Clark?
I might have gotten canceled. Geez. But some exciting stuff, hopefully, at least coming down for a shortened WHL season.
Man, that was fun. I got to say, Nick Kypreos. Wow.
Absolutely.
That's a guy I grew up watching. Oh, man, that was surreal.
Perfect timing for the NHL season to kick off tomorrow night. And we will be right back after the break. We got Squad Select coming up, a new segment called NFL Game Balls that we're kind of excited about. We'll see how that goes.
Who came up with that?
I don't know.
Creative marketing department here.
I guess. And we're going to be talking about NHL predictions later in the show. My mind might have been changed with a few things that Kipper said there. But we already made the graphics, so we're kind of stuck. we're not redoing the graphics.
That's the industry, hey?
So
my thoughts have changed, but the graphics are already in.
It is what it is. We'll go with it. We'll be back after the break.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG. Always delivering the best fan experience. Find us at ddgregina.com.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
He's covering everything that matters to you. It's the Rod Peterson Show. Tune in live Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to noon to catch the show live and be a part of the action. Take control by commenting live and sharing the show with your friends.
Everyday hoop life. Let's get it, baby.
IKS Live. IKS Live. Western Canada's premier production services company. LED sign rentals. Video production. Event management. Look no further than IKS Live. Visit our website. IKS Live. Always the best seat in the house. IKS Live.
We are just coming down from that Nick Kypreos interview. Had a great time in that last segment. If you missed it, we'll be posting it on YouTube later today. Tonight, I guess I should say you should go there and check it out, or watch the replay after this is all over. Great chat. And we were just saying we covered everything we wanted to and then some, and it felt like we could have gone longer. It was great. Great chat. We're just chugging our drinks here. Little Buddha. They're not paying us for this, by the way.
No.
We are shamelessly plugging this because it actually is really good.
I think this might be my new golf course drink this summer.
Might be. Hopefully they serve it at the golf course.
I love the flavor.
And just, I don't know, just throwing it out there. Nick, I don't know if he's probably not still watching, is he, guys? No, he's not. However, if you want to put the wide shot on, or maybe Max's shot.
Alvana White.
There's a beautiful empty fridge back there that we could easily put Little Buddha on. Just saying. We are going to get into our squad select now, talk a little NFL, break down the last weekend. And of course, as we mentioned, is Jamie Neugebauer. It's an energy drink? No, this is 4% vodka premium cocktail, grilled pineapple and rosemary, Little Buddha. It's one of the healthiest drinks you can find on the market. It's like all the ingredients are natural ingredients. It's organic.
I'll clear it up for Jamie Clark. Nick brings the energy, drink sold separately.
There you go.
There we go.
So anyways, it is very good. I would recommend it. And that's not a sponsor plug. Just saying. It's true. It's real. I'll put it here for...
It's authentic.
Just because I feel good about it now. But Kayla, if you could put up last week's squad select
or not, Kayla,
graphic,
that's
please.
also fine.
Max is super pumped about this.
Man, I totally like...
So, As you may recall, the storyline was I was getting absolutely mollywopped with about 4 weeks left in the year. We changed the format to add more games and more battle games, meaning that
Who
I pick
approved
a
that
team.
change?
I did. I pick a team. Max gets the other team, no matter who it is. So we picked a few games a week. We
Even
did 3
the
games.
Washington football team.
Oh man, so
They were actually good. It was the Bears that disappointed me.
they did okay. Now, here's how it worked. So I had the first pick because I was down a few games. I made a miraculous comeback in the last 4 weeks of the season. I got within 2 games at the end of the regular season. Max still had the lead. I made the first pick of the draft, and I picked the Bucks over Washington. Worked out in my favor. Barely, but it did.
It did.
You picked the Bills over the Colts.
Which was a nail-biter.
Worked out in your favor, but barely. I went ahead and picked the Saints over the Bears. That worked out in my favor, but a weird one, 21-9.
Yeah.
Not a sure thing by any stretch.
Last-second touchdown by Jimmy Graham on a hell of a grab. If you're
Yeah.
a Chicago Bears fan on a play to get the season done with.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
And then you picked the Titans over the Ravens, which worked out great for me because the Ravens
Thanks,
came
dupes.
out, had a great game. I picked the Seahawks and made you pick the Rams. Excuse me. And that worked out well for you. The Rams got you one of your 2 wins on the weekend.
Man, I just totally Atlanta Falcons it. I started
You
out
did.
so hot and just crashed
You
and
did.
burned.
And then you picked the Steelers to end it off, and the Browns ended up winning that one for me. So that made me 4-2, you 2-4. We are dead even going in to the divisional playoff round. There's 4 games. Kayla, can you throw up the next NFL graphic, please? I believe it's the schedule for this week. That's the one. So there's 4 games, 8 remaining teams. Now here's the thing. I was going to put up a poll because I didn't know how to figure out who's going to pick first.
Well, me,
So-
because I had the worst week, right? It's whoever comes off the worst week.
Is it whoever comes off the worst week?
Well, I'd say so.
So let's do it interesting this way.
Okay.
So
Rock, paper, scissors, best 2 out of 3?
technically, we in the past, I believe, yes, we have done the worst week, or whoever was losing. I'm not exactly sure how we did it. Kind of usually went hand in hand.
I was
honestly.
winning a lot of the way. I kind of forget.
So I just put a poll up. Please vote on the poll right now. Who should get first pick in tonight's squad select draft? You guys are going to decide.
I need it, guys. I've been real cold.
We'll break down the games a little bit more while we get a few votes in. Please, if you're watching, I see we have a bundle of viewers on Facebook. Click one or the other. Pick your favorite. Pick who you want to do better this week. Whatever. And just because you get first pick doesn't mean you're going to do better this week.
That's very true. That's
Let's be
very
honest.
true.
These are some tough games.
Yep,
Now
there
let's
is.
break down the matchups, and then we'll see if anybody votes.
Yeah.
So
Start in the AFC.
Sorry, I just got a message from our good friend over in New York, Joseph Lazito.
Oh.
Can I watch a replay of tonight's show? I completely missed it. I blame COVID. Yes. Yes.
Simple answer. Yes, Joe.
You can watch a replay. I'll talk to him later. Can you put the graphic back up? Sorry, guys. We do have a few votes
Can you
coming
fit Joe in between Don Cherry and Chad?
Yeah, I'm going to have to give Don Cherry
Still
a
can't
call
get over
back
that.
later. We almost had Don Cherry on the show. If you missed the opening of the show,
like
he called
7 minutes before air.
Called about 7 minutes before we went live. Had him on speakerphone. I didn't know who it was him. It was a blocked number. And then he's like, "Oh, it's Don Cherry here."
And like authentically, like sounded exactly. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
So let's break down. We got 3 votes in so far. I need some more votes. We need at least 5. So
why
somebody
does that
else
mean I'm
vote.
winning? I can't see. My laptop's dead.
You won't be happy currently, but that's why I want more votes. I want a bigger sample size. So we got the Ravens going into Buffalo to play the Bills. The Ravens coming off that big win against Tennessee. The Bills beating the Colts, who weren't a bad opponent, by the way.
No, not at all.
So there's a lot of hype around Buffalo in that one. We got Kansas City coming off the bye week going up against Cleveland. The poll didn't come up. Well,
That's okay. Robin voted for me. Count it.
Robin voted for Max. Okay, so I will count it. I will count that. I will count it. So right now, I'm still winning, but we still got. I'm going to give it another
Guys.
minute. I'm going to give it another minute.
Is it the Preds jersey? What is it? What is it about this?
The-
beard? I'll change. I will do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a lot about you.
That's tough. That's tough to hear.
Please
Jeez,
vote.
See that LA Rams logo? In the corner?
Sometimes
Why
you
do I
have
see a
to, if
Falcon
you're
logo?
watching on your phone, sometimes you have to flip your phone the other way. If you're watching on your computer, it should just pop up on the bottom, but you might have to hit refresh. I'm not sure. Sometimes it acts weird. Bucks versus Saints. We had the Snowman on the Rod Peterson show today, Max, and he said that one of the old quarterbacks. Actually, you know what? I have the old quarterbacks. Breeze versus Brady. Kayla, can you
The
put that
History
picture
Channel
up?
graphic?
Yeah, I got
Yes.
it. So can you put
This
that
is
one
excellent.
up? It's two old guys. There it is.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that awesome?
That's fantastic.
Now,
I saw this and I was.
This was endorsed by Tom Brady, so
I love it.
he loves it too. So this is hilarious. We got two of the oldest quarterbacks to ever play against each other in the playoffs, Brady and Breeze. Just a great picture. We can go back to the schedule now. So they're playing against each other, and I won't spoil it because I know you missed it because you were working today. But Snowman said that one of their lucks are going to run out, so that'll be interesting.
Ooh, okay,
And we got obviously your Rams, who you're wearing the hat of, and the Packers again coming off a bye week.
Yep.
So I think we've got to settle it. John O'Flynn's
we got a lot
voting.
of. John voted for me 3 times, so that counts.
I don't know if that counts
Absolutely
necessarily.
does. Max Force, Max, and Max with a period. All
There's
3 different
three
connotations.
votes.
I
There's
love it.
3 votes for me, 1 for you on the actual vote. It's a small sample size, but we got some comments as well.
Whoop-de-doo.
And just because you have a few comments, I'm going to give it to you.
Comments trump the poll every time.
I hate
All right,
doing
let's
this.
do this.
I hate doing this, but I'm giving you the first vote, Max. Go for it.
Well, and just to wrap this up with a pretty little bow, I was gracious enough to, change the format, help a guy out.
Fair.
Anyway,
If it wasn't
sorry,
for you,
we'll-
I wouldn't have made a miraculous comeback and got back.
Exactly.
into this
That's
thing.
exactly it. I have only myself to blame.
Yeah. I think Clark's trying to. Yeah, stop the count. Stop the count.
Stop the count.
I think we're going to get canceled.
Yeah,
now, for
exactly.
sure.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Kansas City Chiefs, last time I checked, they are the defending world champions. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, the problem that I have with this is the Steelers still just won't shut up. Juju has infected good old Canadian boy Chase Claypool, and Chase is talking smack about the Browns still 3 days after they beat them.
Yeah.
So the Browns are a bit of a wild card here, but I think Patty Mahomes, full strength, they've basically been resting for 2 whole weeks. So we're going to see if the rest versus rust pays off.
Yep.
I've got to take the Kansas City Chiefs here. I
have
think
to.
that's a no-brainer.
You have to.
Yeah.
I will take the Browns, and I'm going to be rooting. I'm going to be rooting for the dog pound. We have Ronald Steven Jacobson from down in North Dakota. He says, wait for the mail-in ballots.
You're going to be waiting a while.
Yeah, we might be waiting a while. Let's just go for it. So I am going to go, and I think you'll like this one.
Give it to me, baby.
I'm giving it to you. You took the 1 bye week. I'm taking the other bye week. I gotta go Packers. We talked about this earlier in the show. They're at home. They're facing an LA team that's been banged up. They're coming from LA. They're a warm weather team. They're coming into Aaron's home, and the Packers just seem to be firing on all cylinders right now. So I'm going Packers. I'm giving you your team. I had to do it. I had to do it.
You just hate my Rams, but that's okay because Jalen Ramsey is going to hold Devontae Adams to like 37 yards. No, sorry. 60 yards receiving on 4 catches. That is what Jalen Ramsey will give up to Devontae Adams. And if Jalen shuts down Devontae Adams, the Rams will find a way to win this game. That is the key matchup, and that is what's going to happen. So
Okay.
I'm more than okay with it. I don't have expectations, but I have hope. So you're saying there's a chance. Clark.
Okay.
I will
All right.
gladly take my Rams.
I got
So,
Packers. You got Rams.
See, and now this is the thing here. So it's
Yeah, where do you go with this?
exactly, and it's Breeze versus Brady. That is an incredibly tough game to call in my mind. Breeze is playing for his career. He's literally said he's retiring at the end of the season. So I think he's got nothing to lose. But to me, that's still a super tough game to pick. And then on the other side, in the AFC, you've got 2 of the most young, dynamic quarterbacks in the entire league.
Yep.
I love me some Josh Allen, though.
You do?
I love me some Josh Allen, and I like what Kipper said, that it feels like it might be the Bills' year. It just feels like it might be. So I am going to take the Buffalo Bills against the Baltimore Ravens, and
Okay.
we're going to go Bills Nation, Bills Mafia. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Not a bad pick. You gave me the Ravens last week, and they paid off for me. So
Yeah.
here we go, Lamar.
It's not happening twice.
Lamar Jackson, let's do it.
Nope.
Now, here's what Snowman said earlier in the day, because you've left me with the Bucks and the Saints.
But you do have insider information now, so
Right. So you left me with the Bucks Saints. Snowman was on the Rod Peterson show. Our good friend Brian Snow, he's been on this show twice. He's been on the Rod Peterson show a few
great
more
fella,
times.
great program.
He came on and he said that all year long, Tom Brady has been barely hanging on. He hasn't been performing. The team in front of him and behind him on defense isn't as good as they seem to be, especially the last 4 weeks. They played Atlanta twice. They played Washington.
The Panthers, too, I think
Oh, yeah,
they're
the
in there.
Panthers.
Yeah.
And then it was one other team that
Yep.
wasn't very good. So he says it's over for Tom Brady. The Saints are coming in hot. Alvin Kamara is an absolute star. Michael Thomas is performing, and a little foreshadowing, he might have something to do with my NFL game ball. If you want to go ahead and pick up that game ball, Max.
Oh, okay. I can do that. Yes.
I'll do it after. But I'm going Saints. I'm giving you the Bucks in this one. I think the Saints have a little bit more firepower, and I just think they have something going for them. So I'm going Saints. You got the Bucks.
I don't hate that. I like the weapons. I like that Tom Brady is still he's still the GOAT. He's the GOAT until he ain't no more. So Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. Man, there's some weapons still there in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I do agree with Snowman's logic there, though. Yeah, he hasn't played a lot of strong teams lately. But man, Washington gave them a bit of a run for their money. There was a little bit of adversity there,
and that's why I'm not loving the Bucks. I've picked the Bucks a lot this year. Well, you've been here. You were right there all the whole time.
I was.
I picked the Bucks a lot this year.
Yep.
I just have a gut feeling the Saints have a little bit more. So we're gonna do a new segment here. We'll recap the squad select later on, but this is called NFL Game Balls, and Max came up with this because we have a nice little football with our logo on it. You kick it off, Max. Basically what we're going to do is a performance that we liked throughout the last week, and this might transition into hockey down the road as well, or any other sport. Maybe it's just going to be like a heroes and zeros type deal.
We got hockey helmets and stuff that we could decal up.
Yeah.
We got props. We got stuff that we can use.
Absolutely. So it's going to be, what did you like? Maybe it was funny, maybe it was under the radar, maybe it was kind of an unheralded thing that somebody did. So who's yours, Max? You kick it off.
So my game ball is not going to any one team, not any one, I guess, performance, so to speak. My game ball is going to Nickelodeon. And the reason that's going to Nickelodeon, Clark, is I love things that advance the game and get new viewers, new fans, kind of breeding a new culture in whatever sport it may be, hockey, football, baseball. And that is the reason why I'm giving it mostly, is because there was a nice little tweet out there. I cannot remember who it was, but they were saying Nickelodeon and the MLB need to partner up to get some kids involved in baseball.
Every sport,
really. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people might have found it corny, this whole slime going into the end zone. Like I said, I'm all for creative marketing endeavors to try and advance the game forward. And Nate Burleson, I absolutely love him. He was on the panel for Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
To me, he's just fun. He's just fun to listen, call games. So I think they assembled the right team. We're going to see if it continues to move forward, but I like the partnership there. So that is where my game ball goes. Clark, your game ball.
Are we doing the
sir.
pass?
Have to.
We got it. So you stole mine. I thought you were going a different direction.
Well, I was going to go Sean McVay. I was using that as the example. Sean McVay runs really fast down sidelines.
Well, stop talking, because I might use them now.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm kidding.
Out.
I won't. I got another
Think on
one.
your feet, Clark.
Mine was Michael Thomas for scoring the first ever slime touchdown.
Oh, okay.
And again, shout out to Nickelodeon. And just my 2 cents on that. For anybody who's over the age of 20 who is saying that they didn't like the Nickelodeon thing because it was gimmicky or whatever, shut up.
Come on. How do you not enjoy
It's not for you. It's for kids. They're trying to get kids involved and interested in something that has been seen as a little boring. And to spice it up a little bit, to throw a bunch of graphics, aesthetically pleasing, a lot of colors, make it interesting, explain some rules. They had those characters come on the screen and explain rules.
SpongeBob between the uprights. That was awesome.
Young Sheldon came on and explained different rules. So like, it's not for you adults, it's for kids. And apparently they had 2 million viewers. And that was the first time they did it. So my game ball, again, I'm going to double game ball a little bit. I'm going to give it to them. My second game ball goes out to, I'm just reading some of the comments. Sorry. Nick Saban on winning 7 natty games. Congrats to Bama. Yeah. Kamara sent his, you know what? I'm giving mine to, this is, Adam Schultz just reminded me of this.
That too,
This is perfect. Alvin Kamara sent his Christmas cleats with the game ball and the fine letter to the Hall of Fame. So Alvin Kamara got 6 rushing touchdowns the other day. And the Hall of Fame, I don't know if the Hall of Fame asked him. I'm assuming they asked him for his equipment.
Probably. If he just sent it on his own, that's also pretty awesome.
Yeah. He sent his gear, all of his equipment, and his red and green cleats that he wore for the game. He got fined, what, 50 grand?
Like 50 grand. And then the other thing, too, about Alvin Kamara, right? He said, like, whatever they find me, I'm just going to match it and donate to charity.
Yeah.
Like, the guy can't lose here. He's a superstar and on and off the field.
Yeah.
Summing it up. Just
Absolute
like
stud. Maybe makes me feel better about my Saints pick in squad select too. But
good karma,
he
good
sent
karma.
his fine letter to the Hall of Fame. So the letter he got from the NFL that said you can't wear those cleats, you're getting fined. He sent that to the Hall of Fame too.
Friggin' Roger.
Game ball to Alvin Kamara. Keep it up and win me this squad select with the Saints. Max gave it to Nickelodeon in general for their game. We're going to come back after the break. We have one more quick segment. We're going over our NHL power ranking predictions, our division predictions.
Yeah, we'll be out here by 9:30. Hey?
We did, yeah, 9:30. We'll see you after the break.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG. Always delivering the best fan experience. Find us at ddgregina.com.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
He's covering everything that matters to you. It's the Rod Peterson Show. Tune in live Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to noon to catch the show live and be a part of the action. Take control by commenting live and sharing the show with your friends.
Everyday hoop life. Let's get it, baby.
IKS Live. IKS Live. Western Canada's premier production services company. LED sign rentals. Video production. Event management. Look no further than IKS Live. Visit our website. IKS Live. Always the best seat in the house. IKS Live.
All right, welcome back. We have our final segment coming up. We just said hello to the DuPont family.
Yeah.
Darren and his mother and father were here.
Very nice
hanging
folks.
out at the set. So shout out to the DuPonts. I'm just getting some messages here from our good friend Ronald down in North Dakota. He says, game pucks. So yeah, we're gonna have to do game pucks.
I like it.
And then he says with slurred speech. I don't know. Is that do I sound drunk or is that you saying that? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, maybe after a Saturday night, like it's
I hope
hockey
after
night
a-
in Canada, it's gonna be jam packed, a little beverage consumption.
I hope after a 4% drink that I don't have slurred speech. But hey,
Yeah, I'd hope
it is
not.
what it is. It was a delicious drink. I'm
It
not
was
gonna.
fantastic.
I'm not gonna say sorry to anybody.
Nope.
But hey, we got to do our NHL division predictions. We are on the eve of hockey, and we're so excited. Everyone here is so excited.
Wonder what the over under is on the leave time tonight. Jordan, Kayla,
Yeah, this one. Hopefully, we won't go too crazy. We're past. We're past it already. Oh man, I thought we were doing okay.
Well, we were. Then we weren't.
Ronald says, "Don't swear." I didn't swear. Well, I guess Nick was letting it fly a little
I
bit.
liked
That's
it.
fine.
I liked it.
That's
This is the
perfect.
after hours
Made it
show.
better. Made it better. We got to put the graphics up here. So let's go with the very first one, which I believe we're starting in the East. So, Kayla, if you can throw up the East on the little TVs here. Now, we'll go through and kind of give our reasoning for these on where we think that they finished. Sorry, I'm just closing. So I'm getting bombarded with messages
That's
right now.
good. That's good.
But we will go with the East Division. This is the division of death, if you want to call it that, the group of death. And we talked to Kypreos about this, and I'm kind of glad I put Washington at 1 with the addition of Chara. They're coming off a huge season, a lot of big performances by a lot of their guys. And I think they're going to duplicate that. I don't see any reason. I know we talked about before the show that their goaltending might be a little different. They got Samsonov taking over there full time, but I really do like Holtby's gone, obviously.
Yes.
But I really do like their team as a whole. They're deep. They got everything you could ask for. They got size, physicality. Their defensive group is really strong and moves the puck really well. So I still do really like Washington. You have them at number 2, so I'm assuming you share a lot of those sympathies.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? They were number 1 on my list too until you alluded to it. It was the goaltending. As soon as we found out Henrik Lundqvist, unfortunately, is going to be missing the year, and he had a successful open heart surgery. That's fantastic to hear. But to me, it's got to come down between the pipes in this division of death. It's going to be a big difference to have that goaltender that can make that big save. And I think Carter Hart turns into a top 5 goaltender in the league this year. So that's why I have Philly 1.
I have Philly number 2 for that reason. Their defense is strong. Their forward group played really well last year. They're hard to play against. They're very hard to play against.
A group that's been together for a while too.
Long time. They got a few young guys maybe popping in, popping out, but that goaltending, Carter Hart and Brian Elliott returning. I have the Islanders at 3. You had them down at 4. So again, pretty similar. We have Islanders and Pittsburgh flip-flopped. I feel good about those teams this year. The Islanders played so well getting to the conference finals last year. They're so deep again. They have that team identity. They've played together for a while now.
Hockey, man.
Barry Trotz
gets you to the playoffs.
Their goaltending is solid, and they have a decent blue line. They didn't add a ton in the offseason, but they were able to bring Barzal back, and they added a few vets. So, you know what? I feel good about the Islanders as a team. I think they have the team. If they're just playing in the division all year long, I think they can do it. Pittsburgh, again, you can't bet against Sidney Crosby, especially
Evgeny Malkin. Still in my eyes, the top 1-2 center punch in the league, and it might be that way until they both retire.
Especially in a year where Montreal upset them in that play-in round. They're going to be fired up, and I do feel like they will be able to make the playoffs.
I think it's this year, or maybe not for a long time again. We might be looking at Pittsburgh kind of paying the taxes of winning.
It's coming.
Cups. So
it's coming.
That's the thing.
But
Bill always comes due. But
they have Jason Zucker. They have Brian Rust. Like they have some guys.
I think Sidney Crosby is going to be that guy that still scores like 65, 70 points a year when he's 38 to 40. I think he's just that good of a hockey player. So
now we flip-flopped on this one, and this one's interesting. We kind of alluded to it with Kypreos during his interview. I have Boston at 6. Missing the playoffs after a dominant year. You have them at 5, also missing the playoffs, and we have the Rangers in that as well. That young up-and-coming Rangers team, they have a lot of young pieces. They're looking. I didn't like them at all 2 years ago. And they've added some really interesting guys in the draft and through free agency, through trades, getting Trouba. They've got all sorts of talent.
That Lafreniere kid's supposed to be pretty good.
Lafreniere.
He's going to be all right.
Kakko is coming in there. They got Zibanejad. They've got Kreider. Kreider's their third line left winger.
That's insane.
They're deep. They've got some center depth. They've got defensemen. I think they've got it enough that they could surprise, and I think Boston has regressed. They've got some injury issues we're not quite sure about. They don't have a ton on the blue line. Their goalies are a little older. I'm not in love with how Boston's sitting right now. Will they surprise and probably finish first? Yeah,
that's the way it goes.
It's the Bruins.
Yeah, but at least they're not in the same division as your Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. And so is Washington. They're out of the way too. So
absolutely.
I am gonna make a little bit of a bold statement and put Boston out of the playoffs. And then we have Buffalo and Jersey. We don't have to talk about them too much. I think Buffalo is a team. I had them higher earlier. I think they are a team that if everything happens well
if they're
for them,
not in this division and they're in the hybrid division.
That's the thing. They have some. Obviously, Jack Eichel's ready to break out.
They're going to improve, I think.
I just don't see them. They could be. Them and the Rangers to me could flip.
Yeah.
Them and Boston. Maybe Boston finished higher, but
I've got Boston simply for the goaltending. I think Kipper said it earlier about Rask and Halak, or you said it earlier. Rask and Halak. That's a tandem you want to have in net. It's a tandem that can carry you, right?
And that's why I said Boston's probably going to end up first. Let's put them in. Let's go to the Central Division, Caleb, please. Central Division.
Oh boy.
Now, this one is interesting because there's a few teams in here that are struggling right now with health. This is the division that seems to be kind of that division with like Dallas is hurting right now.
17 out of
I
the
think
27
Florida,
reported COVID cases were
Yeah.
Dallas Stars. So, yeah.
So Tampa Bay to me and you, Carolina to me and you, both seem like teams that are stacked throughout their lineups. Tampa Bay especially, they're coming off the Cup win. They didn't lose a ton really, and they're going to be ready to go. I know Kucherov is out, which is going to be interesting. But
he'll be back right in time for playoffs.
Yeah, and it's Tampa.
Right when he's capped,
They've still got stars. Braden Point's still going to be breaking out. He's not even
back
done yet.
Cirelli, who I think is poised to have a breakout season.
Stamkos is healthy. They still have a great blue
Victor
line.
Hedman, that guy's good.
Yeah, they still have a great blue
all right.
line. Vasilevsky's the best goalie in the league.
I think so. I think he should have got the Vezina last year ahead of Hellebuck, to be perfectly honest. I think so.
I'm okay with the Hellebuck getting it. But Carolina's another team, a ton of young studs. Robin Wildey's not happy that we didn't put Dallas in the top 4.
Yeah.
Max just informed me, I forgot about this. Tyler Seguin is out long term. Jamie Benn's coming off a really bad year. Radulov did not look good in the playoffs.
No.
I know that they got to the Cup Finals. He didn't look good. Their young guys came up and they were playing well and got them through. Their goalies are a year older. Who knows about Ben Bishop's health? Their defense is... Klingberg's had some good years, but he hasn't been great lately. I know Heiskanen's going to be good.
Heiskanen's going to be a stud. I think he is a guy that you can be looking at in the next, I'm not going to say this year, but in the next 2 or 3, he's a possibly perennial Norris candidate.
But the reason for me for putting them out of the playoffs is because I think Columbus, and we talked about this, but Columbus has that really strong identity as a defensive team. Tortorella's there, right? They added some forwards. Their goalies are unreal. Look at what they did in the playoffs. And the two of them, Merzlikins and Korpisalo, they're both there. I think they can shut teams down in this division because in this division, that's all they're playing. There's not a ton of scoring. Look at those bottom, honestly, from 3 to 8, those teams, and I'm sorry to say this, but Nashville, but those teams aren't necessarily fire-powered teams. Dallas has been off and on. Florida's got some question marks. They lost a ton of goals. Hoffman's gone. Dadonov's gone. Yandel, who knows? Ekblad, I heard, blocked a shot in practice.
Don't swear, Clark.
But Detroit and Chicago are struggling, so they're going to be playing them. I think they can shut teams down and score enough to win. Nashville, I think, is in a similar boat where they can shut teams down, and they have enough up front they can score and win games.
It's got to be a breakout year up front for the Jofa line. Forsberg, Arvidsson. Philip Forsberg should be a 40-goal scorer. He doesn't quite get the ice time that he needs to be that guy, but you saw it last year. He executed the Michigan goal, the Svechnikov, whatever you want to call it. He's a very talented player. I'm really hoping that he can break out, and I say 40 goals obviously in an 82-game season. We'll see. Maybe that's more like a 30 number this year, but at the end of the day, I think the Preds finish in the playoffs, but I also think, hot take, maybe not so hot because he is fantastic and a legend of our franchise, but Pekka Rinne has a bounce back year.
I can see that.
I think it's going to happen. He had a lot of rest. He's a new father. He's going to enjoy his twilight years in the league. So that's my take on the Preds.
And like I said, they have a great blue line, and they do have enough up front. I think they're healthy. We'll see. Florida, like I said, they lost too much. Bobrovsky's really questionable.
Going to lose another good piece on D.
I know the story is that Bobrovsky has a bad year and then wins the Vezina.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But... I don't know.
It's like the San Francisco Giants for like 3 years. It was every second season they were winning a World Series. It's like
Detroit and Chicago, we have them flipped. I just don't love Chicago's injuries, and I think they're going to sell. We talked about it. We talked about it with Kypreos last segment in his interview, but he thinks they should sell now. And if they do, they're going to be worse than Detroit. Detroit's young, they're growing. So I think they could.
That I like, though.
And they signed Thomas Greiss for their starting goaltender, so they've improved that. They still have Jonathan Bernier, who played really well last year on a bad team. He actually had half-decent numbers. Let's go to the West Division now. So we have both Colorado at the top. They are the Stanley Cup favorites going into this season. They are deep. They have a great blue line with young talent who can skate and move the puck. Their goaltending is good.
Their
goaltending is good though, and on a team with that much firepower and that good of defense, you can get away with good goaltending.
Philip
in the playoffs
is going to have to be good.
In the playoffs, though, that's where it comes into play.
Well, that's where it caught them this year. They were easily a Cup favorite this year, too.
So I still think Colorado's going to run away with this division, I think.
I believe so,
I know there's some good teams. And now we flip-flopped on St. Louis and Vegas. To me, I looked at Vegas's their center depth. Their top center right now is Chandler Stevenson. I love Chandler Stevenson. He played for the
Regina
Regina
Pat.
Pats. He was the captain. I love him as a bottom six forward. He's the center right now for Mark Stone and Max Pacioretty.
He's going to have a career year. I think.
You're right. You're right. And
can he be the guy that carries that line? I don't know.
I don't know. And to me, that put enough question in my mind to put them in third. They're still going to be very good. I'm not saying they're bad. I just think St. Louis is deep. They have a team again. We've been saying it. It's kind of a theme. They've played together a long time now.
Yep.
I know they lost Pietrangelo to Vegas. They added Krug.
Steen's gone. Tarasenko's hurt.
Yeah. Yes,
There's a couple
but
of question marks
Tarasenko's
there.
probably coming back. But, I think
retired,
they've got some young guys, the Kypreos of the world, the Robert Thomases.
I love Robert Thomas. I think he's
Vince Dunn's got some growth to do on the blue line.
I think he's going to be an excellent trade chip for them.
Vince Dunn?
I believe so.
Interesting.
I think he solves a problem for a lot of teams that the Blues don't have. And in a league where you've got surplus on the back end, I mean, you can turn that into some really good things. And being a Preds fan for a lot of years, I know that to be true. So.
And goaltending, too. And I know Vegas has some great goaltending.
Leonard and Fleury, that's why they edged out St. Louis for me, is that
absolutely.
Tandem is pretty sick.
If the Golden Knights can get some big growth out of Cody Glass, I will eat my words and they'll finish second or first. They're in that conversation. Now, for me, this is where it gets really interesting in the West. 4 to 8, there is no teams I would put in the playoffs.
No.
However,
Somebody's going to get a spot.
Kypreos said that he didn't necessarily like what the California teams are doing. I do like what Anaheim's doing. And with Trevor Zegras coming in, they signed Kevin Shattenkirk in the offseason. They have John Gibson in net. So they have
also picked that Jamie Drysdale kid.
Jamie Drysdale's coming up. And they have Sam Steele growing. They have Max Jones growing.
Maxime Comtois, former Team Canada captain.
So they do have some young forwards up front. They do have an okay blue line. Josh Manson, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Fowler.
Cam Fowler is never one to count out necessarily. I think that Anaheim will surprise and get into that last playoff spot. Again, from 4 to 8, I don't think any of these teams should be making the playoffs. If San Jose has a bounce back year, I can maybe see it. You have them in 4, so you believe in them. There is enough firepower and, I should say, star power there. They brought over Dubnyk in the offseason, so they should have a decent tandem in net. I don't know. They, like Kypreos said, they just seem not a good fit of a team.
Here's my take on San Jose, and I don't know. Again, we talked about it with Kipper. The loss of Kane on left wing on their first line, second line, wherever you want to plug him, that's huge. The guy is an absolute stud hockey player, especially like Kipper said when he's on. But I just think there's too much talent to ignore in San Jose that is well rested now. They were a team they were the most injury prone team in the league last year, right?
Definitely.
Carlson was never fully healthy. Couture was out early. Thomas Hertl, Timo Meier. Like there's still some guys that can play. Oh, we haven't even talked about Brent Burns.
No.
I think it comes down to goaltending.
Vlasic,
Dubnyk and Vlasic.
The one thing with San Jose, and this is a product of their success, but they haven't drafted great. They don't have a ton of like those young guys like in Anaheim.
They didn't have the pick this year either. They had to give it to Ottawa.
But with the Anaheim, when I look at Anaheim, I see Sam Steele, I see Comtois, like we said, Max Jones.
They've drafted
Drysdale, etc. Zegras, of course. I can't say without Zegras. So I just like maybe that they have that youthful energy, whereas San Jose is kind of stale. Minnesota, I hate. I didn't even want to put them in 6th. I think they're just a mess of a bunch of mediocre. I hate to say that. And be
As
really
Jeff
harsh.
Merrick said on the PDO cast with Dmitry Filipovich this week, they're a mushy middle team.
That's perfect. I just don't love anything about them at all. Their goalies are Cam Talbot and Alex Stalock. Their defense is okay.
I don't hate their
their forward group has some guys who I would love on my team, but none of them I don't feel like can take over a game.
Very young head coach too. Dean Evison is going to have his work cut out for him.
I would.
Milwaukee Admirals head coach for a long time.
You know what? Robin Wildey says apparently Noah Gregor looks good on the third line in San Jose.
Okay.
That's awesome. I love Noah Gregor. Big fan of that kid. Played great in PA when Robin Wildey was going to championship games there in PA.
Nice.
The Arizona Coyotes and Los Angeles Kings for me, although they have 2 of the best jerseys in the league, especially with the reverse retros.
Yeah.
They got nothing. The LA to me has the least firepower in the league, below like Chicago's and Detroit's. They have pieces. They drafted well. Yep. I do like what they've drafted. It's going to take a while, and they're down at the bottom.
Tell you what, Arizona is a team for me that is, again, we talk about mushy middle teams.
Same.
But you got to talk about them. They got Darcy Kemper in net, and we talk about goaltending and how crucial it's going to be. On the backside of it, is Antti Raanta still there? If he can ever stay healthy.
He is. He's just got to be healthy.
So at the end of the day, you got Clayton Keller, you got Phil the Thrill Kessel still there, Connor Garland. That's, again, we talk about breakout candidates. Another guy that could score about probably 25 to 30 goals this year in a breakout type season.
Yeah.
That's why I don't hate Arizona. I don't think by any means that they're going to be a dominant team, but in a weak division, I could see them sneaking up and getting that 4th spot if San Jose doesn't get the health they need.
I can see that. We said it earlier. The graphics made. I put them in
the graphics made, exactly.
They could be 4th. They could be 5th. They could be anywhere.
We just, if we made the graphic and then took 10 minutes, it would all get changed anyway. So we just had to put something else.
Yeah. I don't know. They seem like they might be a team that sells. They're weird with their ownership. Everything's weird with
They have
Arizona.
new ownership that's solidified now.
Yeah, okay. I'll give Biz Nasty wasn't that
he wasn't that sold. He hated John Shaka.
But when we had him on the Rod Peterson show, Paul Bissonnette, he did say he did say he didn't mind where they were at right now. So maybe you know what?
I mean,
maybe
he's an employee of the team. Kind of.
Well, he did say that too. Let's put up the Canadian division, please, the North, and then we'll get out of here. Now, this is where it gets interesting because all of us here, everyone watching right now on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, are all most likely from the Canadian area. I know we have some North Dakota fans coming in, but this one has everybody intrigued. Everybody has no idea how this one's going to finish up. You ask 10 different people, you'll get 10 different answers. There's no solid first place. There's no solid top 4. There is 6 teams that legitimately should be in the playoffs. And that 7th team, I know you have Winnipeg in 7.
Yeah, that might catch some eyes.
Typically, Ottawa has been 7th on most lists, but they are a team that could kind of be that pesky team that fights every night. Now, John Ohm's not happy with you, Max.
I know, and I can justify this, John, but I want to let Clark continue before I do.
So I have Montreal in 1. You have them in 2. We all have Vancouver in 3, and then we flip-flop Toronto. So let's talk about our top 3, and then we'll get into that middle part. Jamie Anstey, Darren Slade, they're all calling me out for not putting the Leafs first. I am somewhat I am sort of stitious. Not superstitious. I didn't want to put them in 1 because I feel like if I got too cocky with it, so would they. And my energy directly translates to their energy, and I didn't want to give them that. I want them to earn that for me. I like what Montreal's done in the offseason enough that I think they're super deep. When you can put Corey Perry, regardless of where he is at in his career, on waivers before the season starts, you have a deep team. They have 3 lines that I think could be a first line on any night. Not to say that they would be a good first line. That's why I'm saying that they have 3 good second lines. So they have very balanced on forwards. Their blue line is very hard to play against, and they have probably top 5, maybe top 3 goaltending tandem with Carey Price and Jake Allen. So we both have them top 2. I think that they're a little bit bigger, a little bit more physical than Toronto, and over a short season where it's not so much of a grind as it is a sprint necessarily. Not saying it's not going to be a grind because it's going to be. I just think Montreal has a little bit more balance than Toronto does. Again, we will see because I know I love what Toronto did in the offseason. I just never get a chance to talk about it, guys. But I did. I wanted them to earn it. So I'm putting them at 2. Call me a jaded Leafs fan. Max, we both had Vancouver at 3. Why do you like Vancouver at 3?
I think just their young kids are going to take a step in the right direction, obviously, and they have elite talent. I think Brock Besser is another guy that could emerge into being that, again, full 82. Have to preface that 40, 45 goal scorer, playing with Elias Pettersson, who is one of the most creative and most tantalizingly fun players to watch in the league.
Yeah.
He's a guy that can just kind of anchor that team all on his own. Quinn Hughes is going to take another step in the right direction. Their goaltending, I don't know. We're going to see if it was a flash in the pan for Thatcher Demko.
Yeah.
At bringing in Holtby to insulate him. It's going to help. But I think Vancouver's going to be poised for a good season.
And don't forget Nate Schmidt. And they just signed Travis Hamonic, who has been practicing with Quinn Hughes. So I love that blue line. When you can put Tyler Myers and Jordan Ben on your third pairing, that's a hard third pairing to play against. Say what you want about Tyler Myers. Calgary, Edmonton, we flip-flopped on them. I know that Edmonton has those stars.
Yeah.
I don't love the blue line yet, and I don't like their goaltending. I do like Calgary's blue line a lot, and I do like Calgary's goaltending.
Yep.
Their forwards, I know that Edmonton has the top-end firepower. then they have a bunch of mix and matches who haven't been playing together necessarily. They signed a bunch of those mix and matches. Calgary's been together for a long time. They're hard to play against, which I love. It's a theme of mine. I've been saying it all night so far. But I love what Calgary's done. And we had Peter Loubardias on. He said that they're very flexible. They have options on offense, or on their forward group, I should say. Dylan Dubé is going to take a step in that top 6. They have Elias Lindholm, who's finally going to move to center. But they've got a lot of things. And Edmonton, I'll let you talk about Edmonton maybe a little bit, but why do you have them in and not out?
Yeah, and again, in a 56-game sprint, right? I think the thing that maybe hurt the Oilers a little bit last year was that the season was a little too long.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when you have the two most gifted offensive players in the league, we're going to call it what it is, that just is the play for me. At the end of the day, when you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, I think those two alone can drag Edmonton into a playoff spot. Without a doubt. They're at that point in their careers. Kyler Yamamoto, I think, is going to take a really big step forward. He was drafted out of Spokane.
Yeah.
Out of Spokane. He was nearly a point-a-game player when he was up last year, 26 points in 27 games. I think, again, at the end of the day, you're going to see this young Oilers team find a way to gel. I really like the structure that Dave Tippett has put in place. That's the other thing behind the bench. And that's the only reason where, again, we'll get to Winnipeg in a second. That's the only reason why, again, it's everybody's seen me rank Winnipeg at 7. It's not like I got them finishing 20 points below the Sens, guys. It's just we had to pick a ranking, and that's where I'm thinking they're going to finish.
This is a bold move.
Bold strategy, Cott.
Now, let's just say we have Winnipeg in the bottom, not making the playoffs. For me, it's a little bit of team uncertainty with the Patrick Laine thing kind of hovering over all their heads. Their blue line, to me, we talked about it with Kypreos. He likes the blue line. I don't know. I don't love it yet. It could be good. Like you said, Neil Pionk could be a star.
When Ville Heinola gets there. There's 3 guys.
They have some young guys, sure. And then Hellebuck, you can't deny how good he is. I just think when you're playing all these teams all the time, they don't match up great. I don't think they can match the balanced firepower of all the other teams above them. For me, their bottom 6.
To me, it's depth.
It's depth.
It's depth at the end.
I know they have stars in their top 6.
Oh, yeah.
I picked a lot of them in my fantasy hockey
That's as far
teams.
as it goes, though, with Winnipeg, unfortunately.
But and if Patrick Laine is distracted, or if he distracts his team, if he gets traded, who knows what they get back.
Not to mention Jack Roslovich, another cloud hanging over the head.
We talked about it a lot, but if you trade a Patrick Laine, you're probably not winning that trade necessarily.
Not likely. Not this year, anyways. No.
Right. It'd be a long-term thing. So who knows? It's hard to say. I just don't know if they've got the team right now to compete with all those other teams.
We all saw what happened when Josh Morrissey went down this year, and they didn't do enough in the offseason to address it. They're paper thin on the blue line. I'm sorry, Winnipeg. I know we were bitter division rivals for a long time, and that's not exactly where this take is coming from. But yeah, beyond the top 6 in the forward group, which is elite, by the way, I really love the names up there. You got Wheelers, you got Connor, you got Wheeler, you got Laine. When he's not distracted, again, it's distractions. But unless Connor Hellebuck and Paul Stastny, they got him back too. But unless Hellebuck is razor sharp Vezina caliber again,
and
if they run into any injury trouble on the blue line,
and like I said earlier,
Ottawa will bully them.
This is a division. Maybe the East Division is similar, but this division, out of all of them, there are 6 teams that should be in the playoffs, in my mind, in this division. So there's going to be 2 teams that miss, 3 if you want to include Ottawa, but there's going to be 2 really good teams that don't make the playoffs, and maybe they deserve to. So keep that in mind with these rankings. It's not an easy division.
No.
And like who was saying
to watch, though.
Who was saying it? We'll just end it off with this one. But was it Jamie? I think it was Jamie said, I think this is talking about the Jets. No, it's John Ohm. I think this is talking about the Jets. Drager had them 5th, Button had them 4th, Poulin had them 3rd, and O'Neill had them 1st. So like I said, it's a mashup of teams. Like, nobody's going to give
There's no consensus
you
of
won't
where
get,
anyone's going to finish.
You're not going to get a real consensus.
But that's what makes it fun.
When we did our Canadian tour, what did we say? Everybody said that their team was going to finish 3rd, 4th, or 5th.
Yeah, there was no...
Nobody said 1st or 2nd.
No.
The only one we got was...
Joey Alfieri. He was confident in the Canadians.
He didn't say 1st, though.
Nope.
He said the Habs will finish above the Leafs. That's all he said. He didn't say 1st.
Could mean 1st this year.
Dustin Nielsen said Edmonton would be 3rd, I believe. Loubardias hates predictions. He said anywhere from 2 to 5 for Calgary. Andrew Walker said 4th, I think, for Vancouver, 3rd or 4th. So you can sense a trend. Sean Reynolds, I think, said third or fourth, but anywhere from 3 to 6.
Exactly.
Carlo, I believe, did he say that the Leafs would win?
I think he was pretty.
Or did he
bullish
say
on
the
fact
Habs
that
would
they'd
win?
win the division?
Yeah.
Toronto has the talent to do it. That's why I have them number
Barnaby,
one.
I think,
They're
said
top in town.
Toronto won,
Yeah.
and then who am I missing? I think that was everybody.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's take the graphics down. We got to sign off here, guys. We way over tonight, but it was fun. We had a great night.
Ton of
I had a
fun.
great night.
I had a
I
fantastic
hope you guys had fun.
You're gonna Thursday when the Preds smack the Jackets.
Yes, tomorrow, as I said, is the launch of the NHL season. We're all excited. And on the Rod Peterson Show, we have Colorado Avalanche insider Adrian Dater.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Calling in on a phone call. And NFL expert Jim Lang's joining us as well in hour 2 to talk about the NFL playoffs more. Next week on the SquadCast, we haven't really talked about it yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
Stay tuned. We have lots of ideas.
Fun ideas.
Now, I guess we have to decide, are we going to go like basketball theme, hockey theme, baseball theme, football themed?
Let's see if the Raptors can turn it around a little bit. It's tough to get excited about basketball for me, anyways. Not because of our great friends at Hoop Life, but when the Raptors are 2-8, I don't know, something about the NBA is just not drawing my attention. That LaMelo Ball kid is pretty good, though.
I have some ideas on some guests we might be able to go after.
Kipper said Doug McLean.
Yeah, but is he going to talk about NFL? I'm talking if we go NFL.
Well, we'll talk golf with Doug.
Sure. From the basement of the... Did we get a new... yeah, we did. Okay, I see what's going on. From the basement of the bunker, we are signing off. I'm producer Clark, Mad Max, producer Kayla, director Jordan in the back, plus our good friends at Rockstar Supply Chain Solutions, IKS Media, Vigor Lifestyles, Hoop Life Basketball, and RBI Baseball Training. And I think, I'm not going to say anything yet, but we have some potential new sponsors coming. So we're looking forward to those people coming in. And I got a lyric. Let's go with it. Hello out there, Sportsnet's on the air. It's hockey night tomorrow night. Tension grows, Wes McCauley's whistle blows. You really reached on this.
Oh, I know, I nailed
And the
it.
puck goes down the ice. Freddie Anderson jumps and the Leafs and Canadians bump, and the fans all go insane. Darren roars, Austin scores, and the good old hockey game. Enjoy hockey, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Have a great night, everybody.